Hello, I'm Philip Kehl, designer of ASCENDIA Seasons of Thargos. Today I want to talk a little bit about all the mechanics and modules you can use in the core box of the game to fine-tune the experience to your preferred playstyle, to adjust difficulty and just shake things up all around. So let's jump straight into Tabletop Simulator and let's have a look.
I would like to give you a little overview of the current state of the advanced modules that we will be offering, as well as some entirely new little tweaks that we added in the last days that might make the game even more exciting. So as you might know, in Ascendia, the idea is that we will offer a base game experience that's very much suited for casual players, families, or anyone who wants to learn the game or just have a very fast and fun, good time. Additionally, we also want to offer a collection of little modules that you can mix and match and just add to the game to tailor it more to your preferred playstyle and also to make it a bit more challenging if this is what you're looking for. So let me show you a little bit what this might actually mean. For example, one very important thing you can do is you can adjust the difficulty of the game in total and also the general seed, as I like to call it, with a little video game analogy here. So the state, how the game world is seeded, is started. How do you do that? We are not 100% sure how we in the end want to implement this into the game. What we are currently using to try out things is we have this collection of tokens over here, a bunch of little round tokens, and the idea is at the beginning of the game you will draw tokens randomly from this bag and just let yourself surprise with the outcome. Let me demonstrate. The first one I pulled out is a modifier of all combat values of all enemies in the game. And this modifier is 0, so it basically means combat will not be changed. Next up we have starting equipment, starting item. So all players get a starting item in this game we are seeding here at the moment. This is the victory condition, so we are playing to a target number of 20, which is twice as much as in the base game. This is the cost if you want to buy victory points in the village. In the base game this is 10, so now it is raised to 15. They are a bit more expensive. Now there are multiples of each category. And if you draw a token that you have already a previous version of sitting here, it is discarded. So you can just ignore it. And again, victory threshold of 10, ignored. Here we would have the modifier of all combat values of all enemies by +1. So all combats are a little bit harder, but we will ignore it since we already pulled out the +0 modifier. Same with the starting equipment. This means that health is not equal to renown. Basically, this means if you lose a health, if you are damaged by some accidents, or if you lose a fight, you do not lose a renown. So this makes the game a little bit easier. You're not punished by losing renown if you are hurt by anything in the game. This means you will not be getting any story points at the beginning of the game, so you start blank in the story point area. Again, a different version, and this would have been possible also. And this means that all resources are 1 point more expensive when you forage. So for instance, if you want to forage for wood, now you have to meet or beat the number 2 instead of 1 to get 1 wood. But still the trade value of wood remains as a 1. So it's just harder to find them out in the open. Here we have a different version of this token, different version of this one, different version of the victory condition, and finally of the price for renown. Okay, so now the bag is empty, we've dealt with all the tokens, and we have our seed. So we could now play a very original game where we have a starting item as a starting equipment. We start with 0 story points. Combat is not modified, but all resources are 1 point more complicated, harder to forage out in the wilderness. Health is not calculated with renown. We play to a victory number of 20, a threshold, and renown points cost 15 gold in the village. And with this seed now we could start playing. And as you can imagine, whenever you do this at the beginning of the game in this way, you will be getting a completely random and super original and hopefully challenging and interesting seed for your game. We will also have suggestions like default levels that we will state in the rules, so you will not be forced to deal with these tokens. We will also provide you with some, you can almost think as presets of configurations of tokens that we feel are very balanced. Alright, that's the difficulty. Another thing you can add to the game is a questing system. This is sitting over here. Basically this means at any point in the game there are these 3 categories of quests active. You have quests related to charm, quests related to fight, and quests related to foraging. And always the top card is available to any player. So whenever you meet either the first or the second objective, you can claim this card and get the reward stated here. So for instance, if at any point in the game you are in the situation that you simultaneously equip any 2 items in any slot, you could just grab the card, claim it for you, get a renown, and be done with it. But you could always wait until you succeed to meet the bottom objective, which is always a little bit harder. And if you do so, you also get more renown. But there is a very high chance that another player just goes for the easy one and snatches it right from your nose. The next thing you can do with these quests is, over the course of the game, you might collect them. And of course, once a quest has been claimed by a player, the next one down the deck just becomes active. So let's say over the course of the game you manage to acquire some quests. So here you managed to get a forage quest, a fight quest, and a charm quest. Over here in gold you see the 7 careers. These are just one-off cards, unique cards that can be claimed once per game. So whenever you meet the demand that's stated here, you can claim it. So if you have 2 quests fulfilled that are either fight or forage, you can become the ranger, which we did. So we could just grab this card, and now it rests permanently next to our board, and we get a +1 modifier when we apply for lordship for the victory condition. The card does nothing else, it doesn't give you renown, it just gives you a permanent modifier that you cannot lose once you apply for lordship at the end of the game. You can acquire multiple careers, and this will give you a little bit opportunity to role play. So let's say you managed to acquire these 2 careers by successfully fulfilling a lot of fight quests, then you could be a warrior ranger. And hopefully, with this career, becoming the Lord of Ascendia. So this is a very basic idea how the questing system will be working. Let's clean this up. Another thing you can do is you can add a personal ability to your character at the start of the game to make him or her a little bit more unique. To do this, you draw one card more than players in the game. So for a 4-player game, you would draw 5 cards, flip them over, and at the beginning of the game, you start in reverse player order. So the last player in your round is allowed to pick an ability at first, then the third player, second player, and the starting player is the last one in this example here, who might pick from only 2 abilities, one to choose. And these give you a very unique permanent ability that you can use whenever you see fit, and this will give each character a very distinct play style that will shake things up quite a bit compared to the base game. Alright, so these are the main modules we will be adding to the game. Again, we are not 100% sure if this is the form, how we will actually present this to you, but you can be sure that this degree of complexity, of modularity, you can expect from the game. Now I would like to show you some things we are currently working on just to spice up the general flow of the game. As you can see here, there is a new die. We might add this to the core mechanics of Ascendia. What does it do? This is a focus die. Essentially, it allows you to perform a very focused, overpowered action. So usually when you're using your main attributes, you will be using one or more of these white action dice to control your action you want to do. Throw them, resolve them. Now, at the beginning of your turn, you can decide to spend 2 actions, so more or less your complete turn, unless you're using story points for movement. So burning 2 actions to perform 1 focused action. After that, you don't have any actions left. This means instead of using the white action dice to resolve your action, you're throwing this 1 purple die. Let's make an example. At the beginning of the turn, we are standing on the same tile as a bandit. Since we are a little bit weak, let's say we just managed to equip a sword, basic sword, we are not that strong of a fighter. And let's also say, for the sake of demonstration, we have a couple of renown, and we want to make sure that we are not losing this fight, not losing these renown. So in this example, we could decide to burn our 2 actions, combine them into 1 focus action as a fight action. And then we are allowed to throw the purple die for our fight action. Let's do it. And we rolled a 4 plus 2, which gives us already quite a good start into combat. As you can see, the D8, the focus die, is weighted a little bit different than the D6, the action die. So again, we have one side that shows the Guardian. We have the numbers 1 to 7, and the 7 is also an exploding 7. So similarly to the exploding 5 from the action die, if you roll a 7, you then can add ordinary action dice to even boost your result further. This means that you have a higher chance of having slightly higher average values when you're using the focus die, so you have a little bit more control over the success of your action, and also the failure of the guardian has a lower chance, 1 in 8, than the 1 in 6 of the ordinary action die. So we are currently playing around with this, and it's very exciting for us, and with this we just want to give you as a player the opportunity to just give you more fun stuff to play around with and to have a bit more control over the game. Another thing we are currently playing with is the dedicated winter event deck. Instead of just having one generic event deck whenever you're moving from one tile to the next, drawing events, no matter where you are actually moving, we decided to split this deck up into two distinct decks, a summer event deck, as you might call it, and a winter event deck. So whenever you are entering a normal tile on its summer side facing up, you are drawing from the classic event deck as you did before. But if at any point in the game you would enter a frozen winter tile, then you would have to draw a card from the winter event deck. And there are some duplicates in both decks and also very unique cards. For example, in the winter event deck you might find the Serene Winter, which allows you to instantly refresh one story point without spending one action, since you're enjoying the nice, clean winter weather. But in general, you will find slightly more punishing, slightly more demanding events in the winter event deck compared to the summer event deck. We hope that this will make exploring the map of Ascendia even more interesting and to give you a bit more narrative feedback and to make the encroaching winter even more exciting for you to explore and to take part in. And finally, we are currently reworking the Snowfall deck. In addition to the Thaw card that we already have in the game, which allows you to bring back already frozen tiles, so there is a bit of swinginess and randomness also in the freezing timer mechanic that we have in the game. Now we introduced the Extreme Weather card. This is a bit the opposite of the Thaw card, so it just means that the actual card itself is ignored and you instantly draw and resolve the next two cards that come up. So in this example, you would turn over one tile and then thaw an already frozen tile. So it doesn't always mean that the extreme weather will bring more winter tiles to the game, although in average it might do. But in general it just speeds up your way through this deck, so it makes the game a bit faster and thus a bit more challenging, a bit harder. And now the idea is that we have 3 Thaw cards and 3 Extreme Weather cards in the deck. And you, as an advanced rule, are allowed to decide the distribution of these cards. Do you want to play with all of them? 3 Extreme Weather cards, 3 Thaw cards. Or do you maybe just want to play with the Extreme Weather and none of the Thaw cards, which makes the whole Snowfall deck much more challenging? Or, of course, you can also do the opposite, only play with Thor cards, ignore the extreme weather card, giving you a much more relaxed and, just a chill time, and any combination in between. So with these 6 cards, 3 extreme weather, 3 Thor cards, you can fine-tune the aggressiveness, the speed, and the challenge of the Snowfall deck, and tailor the game also to your liking. So as you can see in this little overview, maybe you get an idea what we want to bring you as a gamer with ASCENDIA, because this should be almost a little game system. This should become your playground when you're a little bit more advanced player. You've seen everything the base game has to offer. Then we will want to give you a lot of tools at hand to really customize the game and fine-tune it and try out exciting combinations, experiment a little bit, and let yourself surprise by challenging and unique combinations. And so far I can say we here in the team are having a blast with all of this. It really sets the game on fire, and I can't wait for you to also explore all this and see it for yourself.
All right, welcome back. So that's a lot. And I gotta be honest here, I love playing around with these modules, adjusting the game state, the starting game state, fine-tuning difficulty based on what experience I want to have, who is sitting with me at the table, having the desire to engage in a more in-depth experience by having a questing system, or these starting abilities just to have slightly more interesting and varied different characters at the table. So I hope this was interesting for you and that you also enjoy this as much as I do. Until then, take care, happy gaming, and see you soon. Goodbye.